A lot of questions about what went down in this presidential election and also the House and the Senate. Joining us now, NBC News national political correspondent Steve Kornacki at the big board. Steve, where to begin?
Where to begin? Well, I happen to be in Pennsylvania right now. Okay. You can see here Trump winning this thing, by 2 points in Pennsylvania. What keyed this? A couple things jump out at me here that kind of spill over to the national storyline. First of all, you talk about the suburbs. We have spent so much time talking about the suburbs in the Trump era, how they've become more democratic, especially suburbs with high concentrations of college degrees, with higher incomes, especially suburbs like the collar counties around Philadelphia. So take a look. This is part of what happened for Trump in Pennsylvania and in other key battleground states tonight. Take a look. Actually, I want to show you Montgomery County. We got a little bit more in Montgomery County, and this is the biggest of the Philadelphia collar counties. It fits the demographic description I was just giving you. This is a place where Democrats have been driving up bigger and bigger margins, and they came into tonight thinking and banking that that would continue. And so you take a look here in 2020, Biden won Montgomery County by 26 points. Harris wins it tonight. The margin comes down by 4 points. Again, Democrats were looking at this saying it's going to go north. Maybe it'll get close to 30%, something like that. We saw this in Montgomery. We saw this in Chester. We saw this in Delaware County, other collar counties. We saw this in other states. These big suburban areas that have gotten bluer and bluer. Well, they generally stayed blue like this, but they didn't get bluer this time around. Trump stopped the slide in places like that. And meanwhile, in Pennsylvania, something else, too. I've been saying I think the coalition Trump assembled here, the winning coalition, it's a blue-collar coalition. We talk about that. We've been talking about that for a while. Tonight, or I say tonight, last night, it became a much more diverse blue-collar coalition. So what am I talking about there? You're talking about a place like Luzerne County. This is where Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania is. This is where Hazleton, Pennsylvania is. Hazleton is has one of the fastest growing Hispanic populations in the entire Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. At the turn of the century, Hazleton was 5% Hispanic. Now it's nearly 70% Hispanic, largely Dominican American. Trump carried the city of Hazleton, and Trump in Luzerne County improved over what he did in 2020. So you see, and we see there's a sort of a network of counties, really cities in this region of Pennsylvania here, small, mid-sized cities with substantial Hispanic populations. And again, a lot of them, there are big blue counties. They got less blue. A lot of them, Kamala Harris actually still won, but Trump made progress. He made progress in all of these counties here. And then to cap it off for Trump, there was this one, Lackawanna County, Scranton. Biden's, originally from Scranton. And just look at this story, because I think you see this throughout, Pennsylvania and the Midwest. A big blue-collar county, not as big of a Hispanic population as some of the others I'm talking about. But look, this was a core Democratic county right through Obama's second election in 2012, almost a 30-point Obama margin in Lackawanna. Trump comes along in 2016. He cuts that down to just over 3 points. Then Biden from Scranton comes along in 2020, and the Democrats they don't get all this back, but they get it close to double digits. And we were saying coming into the night, would it look like 20? That would be bad news for Trump. Would it look like 16? That would be good news. It looks better for him in the end than it did in 16. He's going to lose this by just under 3 points. And again, you just compare that to where this was, back as recently as the Obama era, and you compare it to when Joe Biden ran 4 years ago. Trump clawing back lost support in blue-collar places like Lackawanna County, and even exceeding what he did in 2016. You see that here, and you see that in a lot of these battleground states, especially in the northern tier.
So, Steve, give us the headline for the night, not just in Pennsylvania, but across the country. Is it the 45% Hispanic voters going for a Republican candidate, going for Donald Trump? Was the gender gap not as big as was expected? What are your big 2 or 3 takeaways that explain the redness of the map from coast to coast?
Yeah, no, I think, first of all, in the gender gap one, yeah, absolutely. We're looking at, it looks like about a 20-point gender gap. With that's a big gender gap. It's about 10 points for Harris among women. It's about 10 points for Trump among men. But in the context of polls that showed this might be a 30, 35-point gender gap, and especially in the context of, I think you mentioned it in that last segment, the Iowa poll the weekend before the election that was suggesting here's this, deep thought to be deep red states suddenly in play because of this seismic move of women, especially senior women, against Trump. That got everybody thinking, boy, is that going to be the story in Iowa? Is that going to be the story everywhere? And we just don't see that. That's not popping up on this map. I showed you those suburbs of Philadelphia. That's exactly the kind of place you would have looked for that. So I think that's part of it. And the Hispanic vote, I'm giving it to you in the context of Pennsylvania, but I think more broadly, the Hispanic vote in this working class, sort of multi-ethnic coalition, that really is what this looks like for Trump that he pulled together here. The implications for that extend far beyond the battleground. And just take you through some of these. I think Willie mentioned it in New Jersey. This is a 5-point race in a state that Joe Biden won by 16 points. If this holds, this will be the closest New Jersey has been in 32 years. Check this out. This county here, Passaic County, the city of Paterson, New Jersey is there. Passaic, New Jersey. You're talking about a 45% or so Hispanic county. Democrats just automatically win this in New Jersey. Look, it's red tonight. Donald Trump looks like he's going to carry Passaic County. I think Willie mentioned Hudson County. This is a massive, massive county. You've got cities here like Union City, New Jersey, that's 80% Hispanic. This was a 46-point win for Biden that comes down to 28 points. New York State, again, just about a 12-point, 11-point margin there for Harris in New York. That's cut in half from where Biden was. These New York City gains for Donald Trump, double-digit gains. Some of those boroughs even bigger than that, even getting close to 20-point Trump gains there. Look at Illinois right now with 91% of the vote in. Harris is winning Illinois by 4 points. Compare that to 4 years ago when Biden won it by 17 points. This is what this sort of multi-ethnic working class coalition has helped Trump do in these states. It doesn't give him a single extra electoral vote. He still loses all of these states. But what it does do is look at the national popular vote where it stands right now. That is a better than 5 million vote advantage for Donald Trump. And if you're thinking, as in the past, California is going to come in late. It's going to be a huge, massive Democratic landslide there that's going to overturn all of this. When Trump starts racking up, the kinds of improvements he has in huge blue states like New York and New Jersey and Illinois. I'll give you another one. Look at Maryland. Okay, 23 points, landslide for the Democrats. Well, 4 years ago, it was 33 points. Again, Trump, that's a pretty big-sized state there. That's a double-digit gain for Trump right there. Those kinds of gains, without even gaining an actual electoral vote, have given Trump a kind of advantage here so far in the popular vote that eclipses anything he got before in 2016 and 2020, enough to withstand California. I think if you're the Trump folks and you want to win the national popular vote, you're feeling very good that you'll withstand California. You'll end up with the popular vote. And we could talk. Does he get an outright majority? That won't be decided for a while, too. He could easily win it without getting a majority, but totally different than 4 years ago when we're talking about, 7 million vote gap nationally, 4.5 points, all of that. This is the effects of the coalition Trump has have been felt well outside of the core battleground.
Yeah, running up big totals in states he didn't even win. Steve, can I ask you about the Senate? I think Republicans surprised even by their margin there, what it looks like it might end up being in the closely watched races. Sherrod Brown lost his seat in the state of Ohio. Wasn't terribly close, honestly, by about 200,000 votes. That closely watched race in Texas, where some people had hoped in the Democratic Party that Colin Allred might knock off Ted Cruz, lost by about 1 million votes. What are you seeing on the Senate side?
So we'll take a look here. As you mentioned, West Virginia, I'll put the Senate map up. How about we do that? West Virginia, we always said, that was basically the automatic Republican pickup. Ohio, Sherrod Brown going down to defeat there. Just the combination of Republicans getting Ohio, West Virginia, now Trump getting the presidency. J.D. Vance would break any tie in the Senate. That's more than enough to give Republicans control. You take a look at Montana. John Tester here with more than 80% of the vote in. It's quite a mountain for Tester to climb there in Montana. Again, Trump's coattails at the top of the ticket. He's winning this by a much bigger margin in Montana. Very helpful to Tim Sheehy, the Republican there. Now, where it gets interesting in the Senate, though, right now, is these 3 states here of Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. I'm going to start in Wisconsin because take a look here. Actually, and this is almost all the vote in Wisconsin is in now. About an hour ago, we got the bulk of what was left in Milwaukee and Racine. Tammy Baldwin is ahead by almost 30,000 votes. When those final votes that caused Wisconsin to be called officially for Trump an hour ago and the presidency, when those came in, They also lifted Tammy Baldwin ahead of Hovde in this race. So there's the disparity between the Senate race in Wisconsin that Baldwin is leading by 30,000 in the presidential that Trump's been declared the winner by 30,000 in. And frankly, when you look at what's left, there is very, very little left in Wisconsin. So Baldwin is in very good position, actually, here. It's amazing how close these two races are, and they may have different, results here from a partisan standpoint. Also, that's a possibility over here in Michigan right now. Again, 95% of the vote. Mike Rogers, the Republican, is leading. The margin's only 13,000 votes for Rogers. Now, let me show you the presidential race in Michigan. Not been called yet, but look at that difference. 113,000 votes is Trump's margin right now in Michigan. And most of the action in Michigan that's left is right here in Wayne County. This is Detroit and its environs. Harris here is leading, you see, by 232,000 votes. That's a full 100,000 votes less than Biden won Wayne County by 4 years ago. There is still probably about 100,000 votes. About 100,000 votes, left to come in Wayne County. So this is going to get a little bit tighter here. In terms of Harris overtaking Trump in Michigan, she won't do it from Wayne County, it doesn't look like, and there are still some Republican areas that are left. So that may not be enough to lift Harris over Trump in Michigan. Mm-hmm. But when you go back to that Senate race, that 100,000 votes in Wayne County could absolutely be enough to lift Alyssa Slotkin over Mike Rogers. So again, the possibility of a divergent result there in Michigan is very much alive. And then let's take a look over here at Pennsylvania, where you got Dave McCormick, the Republican, about 65,000 votes ahead here of Bob Casey. Now, again, compare that 65,000, really about 66,000 votes to the presidential race in Wisconsin. In Pennsylvania, 169,000. Again, there's a gap there of 100,000 votes. And what's left in Pennsylvania? There's a couple things here, but the biggest one is going to be Philadelphia. Okay, you see 84% there. What they've told us in Philadelphia is sometime this morning, there's going to be another release of a big batch of vote by mail. Pennsylvania gets a lot, Philadelphia gets a lot of it. It takes them a long time to count it. That vote by mail is extremely Democratic. So, you can look for Democrats in that vote and in what is still to come in Philadelphia. Democrats are going to gain ground. Harris is going to gain ground. She's going to add to that margin in Philadelphia. This will tighten up some statewide in Pennsylvania. Not enough, obviously, to put her anywhere in the game. The state has been called. But again, in the context of a Senate race that's 65,000 votes, that could make it very interesting, with the twist being in Pennsylvania that there's provisional. There's going to be provisional ballots numbering in the tens of thousands, we expect, out of Philadelphia. And again, that we expect to be heavily Democratic. So the combination of that vote by mail, that provisional, anything else remaining in Philadelphia, could that be enough to lift Casey over McCormick? That starts to get interesting. It's not just Philadelphia that's left in Pennsylvania. There are some other Republican areas that could balance this out a little bit. Overall, though, you expect Casey and Harris to tighten those races. Again, Harris won't come anywhere near winning it, obviously. Could Casey? It's not nearly as steep for him there. So it's interesting. We talked about it in 16 and 20. There's only one state in those two elections where the Senate and presidential had a different outcome. Maine, Susan Collins, 2020. There's three where that's possible here, and we haven't even gotten to Nevada and Arizona.
Wow.
All right.
NBC News national political correspondent Steve Kornacki. Well done. Thank you very much.
Thank you.